It's not as much hype when you're on video when you're doing this.
It's real hyped.
But for those of you listening to the podcast in the traditional sense, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Alter Ego Podcast. I'm your host, Jack Austin. With me, as always, Mr. Ryan. Welcome back.
How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing good. Doing good. How about you?
Losing the voice a little bit.
The people missed you. The people missed you. We got a lot of emails.
Oh.
And, of course, my little Jasmine Flower here with us.
Hello.
How are you?
Oh, you know.
And returning, the reigning, the defending, the new personality here of the Alter Ego Podcast, Mr. Rhino. How's it going?
I'm just glad it's not going to sound like I'm recording from inside of a phone booth this time.
Yes. And just for everybody who is out there in audio land, we have actually established a YouTube channel. So we do have a video recording of this if you want to see our smiling faces here in our recording studio.
If you want to see my black shirt.
Yes. If you want to see Ryan's black shirt, you can definitely check out youtube.com. Go to look for the Alter Ego Podcast. You guys will see the little ninja logo, all that fun stuff. I don't have the URL right here in front of me like I should. Needless to say, we're happy to be here, happy to be back. Got a lot of news for you this week, guys. But first of all, I want to shout out our wonderful sponsors, Geared Hardware. The rugged yet stylish watches that are the perfect accessory for the man who's always on the go. Whether it's at a board meeting or a bar fight, made with high quality materials and backed up by a lifetime warranty, you can rest assured that your Geared watch will be there for you when you need it most. Go to www.gearedhardware, that's GEARD hardware.com, and use promo code AlterEgo20 at checkout to get 20% off your order. You really want to do this, guys. These watches are super
Do they make women's watches? Do we know this?
I mean, they're not gender specific watches.
I was kind of just thinking the same
Okay,
thing.
well,
Then
I
you
mean,
should get one.
you just
I
really-
should get
but
one.
if I was wearing the watch you're wearing on my wrist,
Yeah,
it would
it
probably
would look like a
terrible.
timepiece. You would
Yeah.
know what time it is, and you would be
Me and everyone around me would know what time it was.
You would
'cause
be that rugged man who's ready for a bar fight or
a board meeting.
You know, you had
Oh,
a
if you
slight
do look
British
great.
accent when you asked that.
Did I?
Oi, do they have women's watches?
Oi,
Do they have women's watches?
Oi, they got women's watches over there, do
Well,
they?
you know,
All right then. Hello.
cheerio.
Now you're just being offensive.
I want Cheerios. Honey Nut, please.
Yes.
please.
You want to smell like Honey Nut Cheerios or any other fine
here we go.
smells that are out there, you can go to Ford Supply. And they offer a curated line of craft soaps and beard care handmade in the USA, offering scents like coffee and cream, coconut, citrus, cedarwood, and many more. Check out the full line of craft soap bars, beard oil, and beard balm at FordSupply.com. Free U.S. shipping on all orders over $35 and get an additional 10% off with the promo code ALTEREGO.
My favorite is Carver. I'm pretty sure that they still have it in stock. It's the pumpkin spice one. It's through the fall. It's awesome. They had some really good winter ones last year, Evergreen and Winter something. I don't remember. Winterberry. They were both awesome. I have no idea if they're re-releasing them, but they were awesome too. So
Do they still have butt nickel?
They don't have butt nickel.
They discontinued butt nickel.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
No. Now they have ass quarter.
Ass quarter.
Quarter.
Oh, Jesus. They got rectum half dollar. Go get that sucker right now.
Sounds like hospital.
And that's not a real thing. But, this is so weird. Like, I just want to say rest in peace to Jason. Rest in peace to Jason David Frank. You may know him as Tommy, the Green Ranger. He passed away this week.
Rita finally got him.
Rita Repulsa. She and Goldar came down there and snatched him up.
That was the first show I ever got addicted to as a kid.
I think it was a lot of us that actually got addicted to that joint.
That was the first show that I got really super hyped about. Like, I enjoyed Ninja Turtles, but it was kind of on every week. But then you had that moment where Tommy showed up and beat the brakes off of all the Rangers, and you were like, wait a minute, hold on. And then the whole script flipped, and then Tommy had to go save him. And they ended the episode with that, "Go Green Ranger, go." I remember being like, fuck yeah. Just getting super hype as a little 8-year-old in my room. And I
did really like him too. I did really like him.
Yeah, no, it's sad to see him go. So we first Coolio, then Kevin Connolly, now this.
Yeah. And there was someone else just passed Oh, hold on. We got a red alert over here with the baby.
Yikes. Okay, well, with that baby,
it was a
So since somebody's already crying, we'll get into DC news.
Hold on, we just had somebody else pass. Let me pull it up because I literally just saw it before we sat down.
Oh, good. Yeah, let's stay on the death topic.
An actress from Supernatural died at 47.
yeah.
Nikki Acox, Supernatural, dead at 47. I don't know what her cause was.
But yeah, we don't really go into that kind of stuff.
I know. The reason I say that is because the article says she was definitely a fighter, so I don't know if there was some sort of illness underlying there. But
I thought you were going to be like so and so died shot in the face by themselves.
Ouch.
Or we get David Carradine, the autoerotic asphyxiation.
Sounded like a good time.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he went out swinging.
Or stroking.
Got dark real quick.
Okay.
Shall we get into DC news? This is a great intro to YouTube here. Okay, James Gunn, now official co-CEO of DC Pictures. We talked about it a little bit last week, what kind of projects we wanted to see, who from DC we wanted to see them kind of focus on, and he's hinted at a couple of characters over the past week. First one, he dropped a poster of a character called Mr. Terrific. Possibly doing a movie or TV show about him. I have no idea who that is. I'll be honest with you.
I don't know who that is either.
Do you remember watching the animated feature with Superman, based off of the video game Superman Injustice?
No.
You didn't watch that one. Okay, for those of you at home, Mr. Terrific is the one that made the teleporter that brought the other Superman from universe
Bizarro?
or universe.
Bizarro?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's Mr. Terrific.
So maybe they're not going to focus on him as an actual show, because now that you say that, it doesn't sound like it would be too much of a actual show, but maybe more of just a character showing up. But the other one that he teased is a very interesting one. It's Mr. Lobo, who is the DC international, interdimensional, interuniversal bounty hunter.
Oh, I remember that guy.
Yeah, and the guy who wants to play him is already playing a kind of major role in DC. And that would be Mr. Jason Momoa, who came out and said he's a massive Lobo fan, that he owns every single printing that has been put out of Lobo. He has probably, I don't see Jason Momoa going to his local comic book shop, but he definitely has every single copy. And he said, you can quote me on that. You can ask anybody that's close to me. I own every single Lobo comic.
You think he has like a comic book curator?
I don't know if he's at that level yet, but all I know is he would make a much better comic looking accurate Lobo than he would a Aquaman.
Yeah. When you said that name, he was the first person I thought of that could actually play him, but I was like, he's already Aquaman.
Yeah.
And he just did that Christmas movie special. I don't know if you're going to report on
I don't know what that is. I don't have that on here.
Slumberland, and I just read about it because I wasn't sure what it was, and I honestly can't remember what it was associated to, but it's associated with something that we're all somewhat familiar with.
Yeah, it looks interesting. It really does. I don't know.
But it's a little Christmas flick that I guess it's going to be. I think it was it Netflix? No,
yeah. I don't know. It's
I don't know where he almost looks like a Willy Wonka knockoff.
He looks like a
I don't know about a Willy Wonka.
No, he looks more like a Krampus kind of knockoff.
Yeah.
But it's not like it. That's not what it is. But I can't remember what it's like actually. It's some fantasy adventure, obviously. But it looked
obviously.
The trailer looked well. No, I mean I'm just saying if he's a Krampus knockoff. I mean, tell me when next time Krampus.
Yeah, that's what we just said.
Secret map to a dream world. Oh wait, I might be looking at the wrong thing.
You might have messed up putting these action figures in front of me.
So we look on our table. We have the what was it? What was this called? Disney
Infinity War.
The Infinity Disney Infinity, and they had all these figures that they made, and they look so cool. They stopped supporting the game, but the figures look awesome. I don't know how, because I pulled out all the superheroes. I don't know how Aladdin and Jasmine got on the table, but whatever works.
Anyway,
it's a whole new world, bro.
It's a comic strip called Little Nemo, not to be confused with
Finding
Nemo.
In this particular one, Nemo has been found.
Yeah. Well, we don't know.
He's been returned safely to his family.
And he dropped a mixtape.
He did.
It's another lost Nemo.
Oh, Nemo.
Trying to find his way home for Christmas. Who knows?
Wow. Okay. So let's get into some movie news because we don't have much for DC. Other than one more thing that we're going to talk about is we talked about Henry Cavill coming back as Superman. And everyone's like, oh, there he is. He's going to be back. He's going to be back. Apparently, there's no deal in place.
Really?
No, he hasn't signed with DC. He's got nothing signed up. There's nobody attached to write the Superman movie, nobody attached to direct it. So at this point, it's just like, yeah, Henry Cavill's definitely still Superman. We don't have any plans for him.
The fact that news dropped at the same time that he backed out of Witcher, though, makes me think that like he wouldn't have. I feel like.
Well, the reason behind that is they're waiting for James Gunn to officially get the direction that DC is going to be going in. It sounds almost like they're going to be resetting the cinematic universe for DC.
They should.
And almost starting from scratch is what it sounds like.
They really should. The problem is they've got movies that are done. Aquaman 2, Flash is coming out with Ezra Miller. There's so many things that are still coming out. James Gunn has a huge hill to climb with this, 100%.
And now there's also rumor, real quick, that Pattinson could actually be the Batman that appears in upcoming features, like a Justice League type feature or any kind of buddy cop movie they might have with him and Superman.
Yeah, why not take the one good thing they have going for it and put it in something like that? I don't like that idea personally.
I mean, but the DC has multiple universes and stuff too, doesn't it?
Yeah, so, big time.
Why not?
Why not? I mean, I don't think that Pattinson, I think the way that his world has been created,
I think it's definitely a different pace.
Yeah.
It's a different tone.
You're not going to stick that very, very grounded Batman in a multi-universal setting, I don't think. I don't think he fits there. You have somebody like Ben Affleck, who is already a very established Batman, a very rich Bruce Wayne, and kind of has the whole Batman thing figured out. That kind of Batman you stick in that scenario, not the one who's still carrying his bat suit in his backpack.
Yeah, but is he going? That's true. The timelines even don't really align now that you say that.
Right.
But what I mean, do we know if Affleck is coming back as Batman in the future? Hasn't there been some?
I would think with the shakeup that DC has had right now, and I don't think Ben Affleck was a bad Batman by any means. Somebody tried to throw a poll out there, and they were kind of saying what Batman, if you threw Pattinson, Christian Bale, and Batfleck in a room and had them all fight, who walks out?
Christian Bale.
I'm gonna disagree with you. I think it's Batfleck, man. Hardcore Batfleck. But that kind of went to the reason of why certain Batmans worked for whatever reason. And I circle back to it. I think Ben Affleck was still the best Batman that's been in the series.
Bro, you forget about my man George Clooney?
Right?
Come on now, dog.
Bat nipples? No, I haven't forgotten that.
Nipples, wow. I think the recent news with Ben Affleck too is probably going to confirm that he is not coming back. He's starting that studio with Matt Damon.
Oh, fun.
So
everything will be out of Boston.
Fargo Batman. Let's do it.
You're gonna get Boston Batman now. Hey, I am the darkness. Go Sox.
I love it.
I am the night, huh? Instead of going out as instead of going out as a bat, he's dressed like Babe Ruth. I dress as the thing I fear.
Who am I? I'm vengeance. What are you talking about? I'm vengeance. Yeah. Now let me go get the bat car.
Let me go get the bat car. It's packed around the corner. Yeah. Anyway, that's just going to be a good one. So yes, moving on. Let's get to some movie news, shall we? Bob Iger, who recently stepped down as Disney's CEO, is now back as Disney's CEO. Apparently there was a lot of nonsense and stuff going on with the current CEO. I don't know anything about it, so I can't really report on it, but I do know that he is gone. So now we have a recently reinstated Bob Iger. What does that mean for Disney?
Well, I can tell you the investors are already happy about it because their stock skyrocketed today. I mean, not even a full 24 hours after he was reinstated as CEO, their stock took off. So there are obviously people that back the move who are very happy with the move. So I think that's going to be a good thing for Disney going forward.
Sure.
My question is, sorry, he muted me because I had a cooing baby. My question is what was the reason that he was dropped in the first place?
He retired.
Okay. So it was okay. That makes sense. Just making sure there isn't some sort of like weird.
I don't think so.
Criminal lawsuit, funky shit come out about him that now
he was back. Found in Taiwan with 4 hookers sword fighting in a hot tub.
Or a very like James Gunn, that's gross, but a very James Gunn scenario to where like he posted something on Twitter 28 years ago and everybody hates him.
I mean, well, I don't know. Well, I just think that's going to help a lot of things move along. Good for Disney. Although the one thing they did nix was the Pirates of the Caribbean movie starring Margot Robbie.
No,
you're not getting that. Sorry, guys.
Can I step in real quick? Just real quick. I apologize. It's actually being reported that Chapek was fired.
The current CEO, does it say why?
I'm not seeing why, but the Hollywood Reporter put out a piece saying that Bob Chapek was fired by the board.
So they just renewed a 3-year contract with him in July.
Yeah.
And so apparently this is like unheard of, obviously, in Hollywood for them to do something like this, because I just read an article about it too.
Yeah, Hollywood always does everything correctly.
Hollywood
always does, I mean, like everything so ethically and right.
It had to be something. If he had a renewed 3-year contract in July and now all of a sudden he's canned, like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They got a lot of things moving and shaking over at Disney. So if their stock went up like that, then clearly Iger being back is a good thing. Another thing they're bringing back is National Treasure. It's getting a TV show on Disney Plus. Now you'll get to see them search for the Declaration of Independence weekly and episodically. And every episode will be structured so as every week somebody moves the Declaration of Independence to another area and does another set of elaborate clues. And each week the gang will get together and try to find the Declaration of Independence. And every 4th episode, Nicolas Cage will come back and throw everything up and have a little cocaine and beat the shit out of the cast and then hide the Declaration of Independence himself, when it'll go to a climactic finale where they finally find it and Nick Cage shows up and steals it again.
Sounds like we're in the world of Carmen Sandiego.
I would love to put an over-under on how many times we hear the words founding fathers in each episode. It's got to be at least 5 times per episode. We'll hear founding fathers.
Make it a drinking game, man.
Yeah, every time you hear founding fathers, you take a shot.
Oh, it's like the Harbaugh Super Bowl drinking game.
But it does have Catherine Zeta-Jones as one of the people coming in for the show. So, you know, she dips beneath the lasers if you're a Workaholics fan. Catherine Zeta-Jones. I don't really care about this show. I don't get why there's such a huge need for National Treasure. It's just whatever. Speaking of movies that to me are and you know, just IPs that are kind of like, what the fuck are we doing here? Stranger Things actor who played Eddie, Joseph Quinn, is coming in a Quiet Place spinoff as the lead role. What is it? The Quiet Place? It's like the beginning. It's when the aliens first show up.
Yeah, it's a prequel to A Quiet Place.
Thank you. Yeah, it's
a prequel to A Quiet Place where he has no lines.
Well, I mean, he's going to talk. He's going to talk.
He's going to have a guitar solo in that too.
I mean, he has to.
They're just going to rip.
I mean, I would watch that.
Things straight away. I don't get this. Is just, to me, I don't understand this. Why there's such a draw to this movie. You make noise, the aliens kill you. Okay, well, be quiet. Now, when I'll start watching is when you have that suspense.
Seen the movie?
Huh?
Have you actually seen the movies?
Yeah, via YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this to you, and it's gonna upset you, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Is it that much worse than Sandra Bullock's movie where they couldn't see anything?
Birdcage?
Bird Box?
Bird Box?
Yeah.
According to Jack, nothing
about Bird Box.
And nothing that Sandra Bullock does.
That's why I'm asking.
That was a masterpiece.
So, you know, guys, hold on. Well, no. Let's say this. Rhino had a good run. 2 episodes.
You speak ill of his other wife, and you're immediately no. You can't.
I wasn't saying her performance specifically was bad, but the movie was terrible. It was dog shit.
All these ideas are bad. They're bad. And what would make me watch it is if this is a prequel where everybody is walking out of just like locally here we have Carmelitas, which is a really dope Mexican restaurant, where they all walk out and then all of a sudden they find out about these aliens that hear shit and they kill you. And the first guy goes, and then it's an hour and a half of these chubby little dumpsters getting in their fucking vehicles and trying to hide away from these monsters and just trying to hot stomp shits down showers so that the monsters don't hear them or come after them. No, just me?
Yeah, just you.
Just you.
I would watch that.
I mean, that's why I thought.
I'm not gonna lie. I would definitely watch it.
Be like, this is the guy.
We'd all be liars if anyone said watch it.
This is the guy that had the bean and cheese. You know he's gone.
Aliens chasing fat
Poor
people
boss
is a
walking
great
out of Taco Bell. He's done.
Except for the one guy's survivor, and his key is he always has a slow, steady stream of silent fart coming out of his body.
That's because he's vegan.
Yeah.
a better movie would be aliens that could
planet.
smoke methane.
Yeah.
And then you have fat people running around.
Here we go.
Just sweating.
Yeah. Speaking of IPs that are coming back, Avatar: The Way of Water released its runtime. It's actually a 1 month long movie.
Jeez.
No, it's 192 minutes, and I'm like, guys, really? Bring snacks, bring a blanket,
Public sub.
get a pub sub.
One thing I will comment on this: there's a very
I'm
large
not watching
Avatar following.
Yeah, there is.
So,
I personally love the first Avatar.
Not one of us complained when Endgame was 3 hours long.
That's right.
I did.
That's right. I'm pretty sure
I
Ryan
actually
did.
fell asleep in that movie. Like, why the fuck is it so long?
You would fall asleep actually getting murdered.
Probably.
I love
Hey,
you
bro,
to death.
this
I love
taking
you,
too
bro.
long, bro. It's
But
taking too
come on, man. You've been killing me for 6 days.
Beat you to it. You gotta be faster than that, bro.
Gotta be quicker than that.
Gotta be quicker than that.
Hurry up. I'm trying to go night-night.
Oh my word. Okay, speaking of things that are way too big and out of proportion, Fast 10's budget $340 million.
That's gonna buy a lot of family, bro.
That's gonna buy a lot of quarter miles.
Yeah.
I don't get it. That's
The
another
car
one.
budget was probably $100 million alone.
And at this point, how does everybody in the world not know about Dominic Toretto and his crew and how their cars are just, next level? And how are they still underground?
They're not.
These are these dudes that ran down the Vegas Strip with a big magnet dragging us safe.
My question is what the hell else is there to do?
I don't know.
They got a race on the moon this time around.
Oh my gosh, I would watch that. Actually, I would not catch up with the rest of it, but I would watch them race on the moon just in hopes that Dominic Toretto hits the wrong crater and jettisons off into space, and then you have to watch him for the last 45 minutes run out of oxygen while he's preaching about family,
holding his silver chain.
But that leads right into Fast 11, where he's in the intergalactic racing circuit, and the Martians that come in who look suspiciously like the Japanese kids in Tokyo Drift show up, and they have him drifting around Mars.
Pretty sure he's gonna race Thanos.
Hey, now we're talking.
What about it?
Sounds like a franchise to me.
I mean,
here we are talking about Fast 10. Jeez Louise. Yeah. So I think we're getting close to a break here. No, we got a couple more minutes. We can talk about a few more things. Let's get into some gaming news, rather. Shall we?
We shall.
No, we shan't. I'm sorry. The one more thing I want to talk about, Quentin Tarantino. No. Let's talk about Quentin.
My guy.
Let's talk about the iconic Quentin Tarantino, saying that he's working on an 8-part TV series for some streaming service, I'm sure, coming out in 2023. Can I give you a hot take?
Kill Bill? Is it a Kill Bill
series? Can I give you a hot take about this series?
You don't care.
I don't care.
I mean, if it's Kill Bill related, I'm about it. Other than that, I don't care.
I'm one of those guys that like Pulp Fiction was great. After that, I'm kind of like, okay, it's Quentin Tarantino. It's really heavy dialogue, followed by some shocking violence, and most likely some drug use.
Some really loud things blowing up. Isn't that a thing that he does?
And Christoph Waltz talking to you for 10 minutes.
Okay, now see, I love him.
So. I know you, but
don't forget Sammy Jackson staring motherfuckingly.
I love Samuel Jackson. The best one he's done since Pulp Fiction was Django. I love Django. That was good. And there was still, it was a little wordy, but nothing could be as bad as Inglourious Bastards in terms of commentary going on for too long.
Yeah.
Hello, my name is Christoph Waltz. I'd like to come up to the Dunkin' Donuts on 49th Street and order a large mocha iced coffee mocha, of course, being the chocolate that goes inside of your iced coffee that you drink.
No, stop it right now.
What's the one where they're trapped in the cabin in the 1800s?
That's Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight.
That was probably his worst movie he's done.
They just got worse.
It kept going and going and going, and I got to a point where I was like, "Who is the person they're looking for?" and get it over with.
Yeah. At one point, I'm like, I don't care about these people. I would have been gone a long time ago.
I still haven't finished it. I started watching it actually a few months ago, and I fell asleep on it like 3 times, and I'm like, this is not good.
And that's the problem now, is that Quentin, he had a couple of really, really good movies, and always the critics are always going to be all over Tarantino. He's one of those directors. It's one of those subject matters that anytime they put something out, everybody's like, oh my God, Tarantino does it again. It's so good. I could care less.
Yeah,
and so the reason I say that is because he's been in the media a lot lately, and I don't know why. I don't know if his publicist is getting his opinion out there, or it's just kind of been hot take after hot take from him. But he says this is the worst state of cinema it's ever been in. He said that recently. Correct? That's not the direct quote. Let me look up the direct quote.
He said along with the 50s and the 80s, the era of cinema right now is the worst we've ever seen.
Right. He's clearly talking about what's popular in media right now.
So why don't you go direct a TV show then?
Yeah. Which he's going to do.
Prove us wrong.
One of the worst in history. It's just why according to him, according to his opinion. I mean, I don't think it's that bad.
I do think we are in a down time of movies in cinema right now, but it's not the worst we've ever seen.
Here's the worst part about cinema right now is that everything that comes out seems to be a remake. Yeah. It seems to be trying to play off of nostalgia or something that's worked already. Original ideas are hard to come by. That's why for this Avatar, I'm down for Avatar, although I'm sure, just like everything else, the principle has been done before, but it's a relatively new concept.
Yeah, it's still Avatar.
I mean, could be worse.
It's also a sequel to a movie. So I feel like you're better off waiting 8 years to put a sequel out than to try to remake the same movie that was made 8 years ago.
Well, here's the beautiful thing about it too, is the sequel is 8 years old and the characters have aged and had that transition of 8 years. It's not like, where you get Die Hard and then you wait, which this didn't happen obviously, but you wait 8 years for Die Hard and then they go, last year when you were in Nakatomi Plaza, and he clearly looks 8 years older.
Was that only 8 years ago? Avatar was only 8 years ago?
Yeah.
I guess.
It seems like it's so much longer.
No, I thought it was like 2008.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure it's like...
Google it. It's worth the Google.
Play the song, man.
It's worth the Google.
Let's play the Google song. We haven't played the Google song in a long time. Here we go. But, here we go. We got one on the phone over here.
And I'm not even Googling. I'm just IMDbing it.
By the way, I'm on IMDb. Isn't that cool?
December 18th, 2009.
Hey, there it is. 2009.
Okay, so
13 years.
13 years. I literally just threw out a number that was a big number.
It was a good guess. It was
it was really good. Nobody was gonna.
It was almost as good of a guess as 1, 2, 4 equals love.
Except for James.
It was almost as good as 1, 2, 4 equals love. Okay.
And
you know what 1, 2, 4 actually stands for? Is I am dumb.
The story of two mathematicians that fall in love. 1, 2, 4 equals love. This summer,
Beautiful Mind,
starring Macaulay Culkin and the late Jason David Frank.
Ouch! Too soon,
1, 2, 4 equals love.
And Mary Kate.
The last tagline is just "I love you." I don't know. Okay, now I think we are actually close to the break. Yeah, let's go ahead and take our first break of the day.
Probably only.
It might be. We'll see how it goes. But we will be right in ski, back in skis. Okay, we're gonna keep going here in video land. 2851. Remember that. Cut that part out.
2851.
So, golly, let me get my bearings. Okay. And we're back. We're going to talk some video games now, shall we?
We shall.
Okay. Miles Morales out on PC right now.
That's cool.
Anybody check it out yet?
Nope.
I've played it on PS5. It's pretty good.
You have played it?
Yes.
What's the gameplay like? Does it look good?
I mean, to be honest with you, it's almost identical to the first one.
Mm.
But they've made some improvements with like combat, fighting. I haven't dived too deep into the storyline yet because I was still finishing up Ragnarok, but it looks pretty good so far.
And you were too busy swinging around New York.
That's actually, I spent 20 minutes trying to find the Avengers Tower. And literally the only thing I did is I climbed all the way to the top and then jumped off and did some cool flips and backflips and all kinds of stuff. And I was like, that was worth 20 minutes.
You know what's funny is like there's so many people out there that would be like, man, if only I could do that. And you know they'd be Spider-Man and get up that high and be like, this is not worth it.
Nope.
Mistakes were made.
Somebody's gonna get there and be like, I'm gonna dislocate my arm if I jump from this high.
I'd be worried about running out of webbing.
Yeah, halfway down. Ha ha.
I'd be worried about you falling asleep halfway up.
That's a fair point too. That is a fair point.
I can just see like Tony Stark being like, guys, why is there a man outside the window asleep?
Well, he showed up late to his own jumping and then fell asleep.
Not even that.
That guy's sleeping. You didn't think I'd notice, but I noticed.
That man is taking a nap.
I'm talking about, no, I'm not.
He's on floor 57 and he's asleep. I could see that easily.
Man, I'll fall asleep anywhere.
You got a camera crew on the floor, on the road, trying to film you. Like, he's been gone for a couple hours, bro. You think he get arrested?
Knocked out.
Nah, man, he's asleep on the back of the building. I just checked.
My superpower. Narcolepsy, man.
Narcoleptic man.
Narcolepsy. Oh, God. Let me tell you something, Mysterio. You'll never.
I can imagine Jay Jonah being like, Sleeping Menace strikes again.
Yeah. This son of a bitch took a nap outside the 57th floor window.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is when I usually watch the planes fly by.
Now you can watch my black ass sleep.
Oh, my God. That is too good. Oh, man, that took a left turn I wasn't ready for. As of January 23rd, speaking of video games, a lot of Blizzard titles will be unplayable in China. That is because go ahead. What?
No,
Say
go ahead.
no.
I don't know the react to what you're gonna say.
She was going to say something. It is because their partner in China who does the distributing. So if you want to distribute video games in China, you have to use a Chinese company to be your middleman. You can't just straight distribute without using somebody there. And apparently after several months of trying to negotiate, they couldn't find an equitable deal for both sides. So Blizzard and I forget the name of the company they split up with are just calling it quits. So if you're in China, you're not going to be able to legally play Blizzard games on your PC.
Do you think there's a large following in China for a lot of these Blizzard titles?
Yeah, I do. Because gaming over there is so incredibly popular, and so many actual like sports teams. Like, look at the Overwatch League. That I think the Chinese team is the one that, or no, the Korean, the Korean teams.
Bro.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's huge over there.
So was it somebody in this group of people that brought up the Yellow Ranger in China thing?
No.
Okay, so the reason you brought that up, and I immediately thought about, and we're on the topic of Power Rangers earlier.
We're on the topic of China.
Did you know that in China the yellow Power Ranger was a man? Hence why in the American show, only the Pink Ranger had a skirt type outfit and the yellow one didn't, is because they just dubbed over it, basically.
Well, you could dub over any of them.
I know, but that's just a interesting little tidbit.
What about when he took his helmet off? That's got to be awkward.
I don't know the answer to that. It's just
I need you to dig deep into the production of the Chinese version
will.
of Power Rangers.
Well,
the Yellow Ranger also died in a car accident too.
Oh,
Did she?
dishonorable family.
and it's kind of funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it's interesting because, to my knowledge, wasn't the Yellow Ranger an Asian woman?
Yep.
Okay.
Trini.
She was Trini. I think Trini is right.
Is that why? I wonder.
I believe you're referring to Trina, who was also the baddest bitch.
Wow.
But Trini might have been the yellow Power Ranger.
I'm gonna look into it. That's my homework for next week. I'm curious.
Get back to us.
For anybody who cares.
Thank God you're looking into that.
At the randomness that I've read on the Twitter.
Yeah. So speaking of video games, BioShock is coming out with a video game. Anybody play BioShock?
Nope.
Anybody know BioShock fans out there? No? This is something I like, though. I played one BioShock, and I was like, I don't get it. I don't really know if I want to, dive so much into this because Gears of War was out at the time. But the director, Francis Lawrence, said that the movie is going to be directly tied to the game itself because he's working with the creators of the game to create the movie. I wish this would happen more often. Why isn't this such a common thing?
I got a crispy dollar that says it'll still be a disappointment to BioShock fans.
Well, a lot of those people are purists. I would not doubt that at all. But that's I don't know. To me, I felt like that was reassuring to hear.
I think the reason why you don't see a lot of that is because the games themselves, the ones that are big enough to become movies, are so long and there's so much depth to the story. It would be almost impossible to add that, make that a movie adaptation without cutting some corners.
Here's another one that makes it a problem in games like that, or some of these larger IPs. Is the problem is when you're playing the game, you are the main character. You make the decisions. You play how you want to play. So when you see that character on screen and they're doing something different than you probably would do, your immediate reaction is probably to go, that's not really close to the game. I don't really like that. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, there's been so many games where you're just like, I don't like this.
We're an hour into this movie and he hasn't done one side quest, bro. He's not going to get any good gear.
Exactly. He hasn't even updated anything. He's still wearing the leather jacket. I don't know, man. It's hard for video game movies to succeed. It really is.
It is. Has there been one?
Golly.
The biggest one I can think of is Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one that's been done the most. Street Fighter had an okay one back when Van Damme was
Jean-Claude Van Damme, him playing an American soldier that's supposed to be a blue-eyed, blonde-haired guy.
Yeah.
And then French accent.
Well, here was another thing, too. He didn't do the Sonic Boom till the very end, and it was like, come on, man. We all know that Ryu and Ken are supposed to be in here doing this business.
Yep.
That was their first problem, was that they didn't have Ryu and Ken in there doing it. But yeah, I got to say Mortal Kombat's probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
Of the video game movies that have come out, because I mean they haven't done something huge yet. Like
we've missed Sonic the Hedgehog.
They did Prince of Persia. Oh, that's great. Actually, that's a really good one.
Hey, Mario's on its way out. I used to love Double Dragons. Just saying.
Yeah. There's a lot of good options.
Yeah, Mario's on its way out. Didn't they just do a Gods of War movie? Isn't there a Gods of War movie coming out?
No.
Or is that a series or another game? I'm thinking
it's a game. God of War Ragnarok that just came out. So I don't know. There's a lot of games coming up, but I want to talk about some of the developments that have happened here lately. Speaking of older games, here's one. The Witcher has actually kind of worked. The Witcher has kind of worked with Henry Cavill. Not a movie, but an adaptation that's come to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then they fudged it up.
How so?
They made Henry Cavill quit.
Okay. That's all I wanted to hear from you. That they made him quit. They forced him. They twisted his arm.
Well, they wrote a bad script and got away from the canon. He's like, nah, fam.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
It's gotta be.
So you don't think Baby Hemsworth is going to do a good job?
I think he is.
I think he is too. I don't know. It's not going to be the same, but like I've always said, I give everything the attention that it deserves regardless. Like I'm not going to step away from watching The Witcher simply because they recast. Now, it is kind of a shit situation being that he is who he is and he's playing who he's playing. It makes it a little bit harder for people who are incapable of separating that or making them the same in their mind. I don't know. I think it's going to be fine. I think he's going to do a great job. It's probably not going to be the same, but
yeah, the big challenge is going to be the storyline that they go after, because that's going to be so heavily critiqued by all the fans of the game. They're going to take a look and see what they're actually doing. And oh, nope, that's probably why Henry Cavill wanted to leave. And that's all fans are going to be trying to diagnose is, why did Henry Cavill leave?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And not that it really matters, but it makes you wonder if like you were saying, which sort of storyline or whatever are they going to follow, is like there was that romantic sort of relationship that he had with Yennefer, and there was a lot of chemistry there, and it's and unfortunately, especially with women following or women followers, they tend to stick to those sorts of things as a woman follower. I can tell you that I will probably be one that does, and the chemistry isn't going to match. It's not going to be the same with Liam because it's just not. So it's like, do they just stay away from that? And maybe there's a new love interest in the future that tries to pull the women audience in, or what? But generally speaking, it's a lot harder for viewers to be seamless for viewers when there's some sort of chemistry, whether it's with a like in a romantic sort of way, or like a major rivalry or something like that. Like it's kind of hard to, I don't know.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say. Like, I feel like it's a lot harder whenever there's chemistry between two characters, regardless of how the chemistry
especially
is
when
built.
You've got an image in your head of those characters.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, speaking of The Witcher, they are dropping The Witcher 3 back on the new next-gen consoles. And somebody made a comment on this on our Facebook page, which I thought was pretty apt. It's like, I've already spent hundreds of hours in this game. Why would I come back and play it again on next gen? There's no purpose to that.
Maybe some
well, it wasn't a title that really set the world ablaze either. Like Final Fantasy VII, and you could attest to this. Everyone who loved that game was so excited to play that when they re-released it.
Yeah, I mean, it almost made me buy a PS5 just for that game.
It's not that level of a game where people are like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to play this game again."
Right. Well, Wild Hunt was that game. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is one of those that got that critical acclaim. So many people wanting to play it and be a part of it. I don't know. Witcher 3 just doesn't grab me. And some of these older games, even when they remade Gears of War, I was like, I've played this, I've beaten it. Why would I want to play it again in HD or whatever it is?
And then you did.
I mean, I did because my friends were like, I've never played. I'm like, I'll play it with you. Let's go. I
played it for like 3 hours.
Wild Hunt?
No, Gears.
Oh,
played it for like 2 hours, and that was
played a couple of horde modes with me on Gears. Guardians of the Galaxy, the video game, is nominated for a Grammy for best soundtrack. Good for them. No surprise. Yeah. We talked about the Guardians last week and how a lot of things have changed and how they have really completely merged those characters and made that soundtrack that he got from his mom and those old tunes. They've made them a big deal. And I think that's one of the reasons it got nominated.
I was going to say, is it the same soundtrack from the movie that's in the game?
No, it's not. I've actually been playing the game, and no, it's not.
And that's a little
but it does have great music. I almost said that to him the other day when he was playing it. Because not only is that video game like visually,
it's visually gorgeous,
but I was thinking to myself, like 3 or 4 songs in, probably of me just like even barely paying attention, and I was like, okay, this is. I mean, most video games don't have, correct me if I'm wrong, video game men in the room, but most video games don't have licensed material. They don't play songs that are, that are out on the radio or out on albums and shit like that. So I was like, man, it's really awesome that they were able to embody that same Guardian feel with music when a lot of video games aren't able to do that.
They are. It's just the licensing. I was going to
it's the cost. Yeah, it's the licensing. It's the cost because I mean they're going to make royalties off of that shit for forever.
The cost, but then also what happens is after a certain period of time that they lose those rights.
Right.
So then the game is no longer be able to play it. So they have to pull the game.
Oh wow. Okay.
So that was like when Tony Hawk just recently came back out. That was a big deal that they still had all the same licensed music in it from before.
I actually just looked up the soundtrack. Wow.
Right.
This is a pretty incredible soundtrack.
It's got a great you just like you said, you can count on one hand the soundtracks for games that are that good. Yeah. Like San Andreas way back when that was produced by Dr. Dre.
But I mean, like in all honesty, you can count on one hand the movies that have a soundtrack that's as good as Guardians, in my personal opinion. I mean, and that that's the
I can only think of one. I can only think of one that was The Departed.
Okay. Yeah.
And that was because of Dropkick Murphys. Truly. Right. There was a couple other really, really good ones, but Dropkick Murphys was the big one.
But it's like for our generation and our time of life right now, I feel like the Guardians movies really kind of knock it out of the park. It's all shit that we just wrecking. It's so like relatable for our generation. And, it's brilliant.
Okay. So soundtracks. There's a game that or a movie that was after a game that was getting ready to be put out called Grand Theft Auto, and it was supposed to be starring the one and only Eminem, and Rockstar Games said no thank you. Why do we think that is?
Well, because they've already ended an Eminem movie with a rap battle at the end, so they didn't want to do
Wait,
that
this
again.
is a movie?
It was supposed to be.
Oh, it was supposed to be a Grand Theft Auto movie.
Yeah,
Okay.
Grand
Hey,
Theft
bro,
Auto movie.
B Rabbit won that though, bro, hands down.
Yeah, he did. He did.
He did. He
Mom
did.
spaghetti.
Papa Doc couldn't even respond. He got off the stage and walked away. Call him a gangster? His real name's Clarence.
He punked Anthony Mackie's ass.
He punked the Falcon.
Yeah, he did.
Oh man. Yeah, I wouldn't have watched that movie. I got to be honest with you.
No,
I just asked somebody else that watching. How was it? Cool. A couple other things. Winter Soldier was just added to the Marvel Avengers game. I will download that game just to play as the Winter Soldier and see what's up. But I have a feeling he's going to be the carbon copy Captain America was. Because unless you're Winter Soldier and he is a purely distance fighter and breaking out ARs and shotguns and stuff like that, and every once in a while throwing a really heavy overhand left, then I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah. I need to delete that game off of my hard drive. It takes up so much space, and I just never.
It really does, but in terms of games that made you feel like the hero you were playing, that one did it. It really did.
Yeah.
That was so good. The only problem with that game is the activities you're doing as those heroes are as plain as white rice on a paper plate in a snowstorm. It's bad.
It was very bland.
Okay, we're
It was
going
very
here,
bland.
stand here for 5
place
minutes,
to eat white rice
punch
on a paper
these
plate.
these robots, move on to the next spot, stand here, kill the cap zone. There was no excitement in playing that game.
No.
All the villains that you fought too, they were just so beefy that it just became, boring and systematic. Okay, I got to go over here, knock this thing out. Okay, walk over here. It just didn't. I don't know. It had lightning in a bottle and did nothing with it. It really kind of disappointed.
You know what's actually weird? As bad as movie adaptations of video games have been,
Sure.
video game adaptations of movies have been even worse.
Video game adaptations of movies?
Yeah, I mean, because the basis behind the game is because of the movies. It's not because of the actual comic books. It's because all of the movies were knocking it out of the park.
Sure, and that's kind of how they've done it in the design. The only good comic game like that I've played and continued to play was Ultimate Alliance.
Ultimate Alliance 2 was the shit.
That one was great.
The hell out of that.
Yeah, me too.
And that's why I don't think I can
there was
play
an
this one.
old school Hulk PlayStation video game. And that game is the best comic book video game I've ever played in my entire life. You could
I'll
run
take you
around
one
as the
further
Hulk.
back than that. Super Nintendo 2 had a Carnage game.
What?
I mean, that's
Yes.
great, but I'm just saying for the one that you played, you could knock down buildings as the Hulk. You could pick up tanks and throw them around. You could pick up cars and make them boxing gloves and run after these big robots and knock them out. Anything that you felt the Hulk could really do, you could do in this game.
And that was kind of one of my drawbacks of this game was like you felt like him at some point, but then like when you go to hit something, I'm like, he should fly across the freaking stage.
Yeah, let me tell you something. When Thor knocks somebody with Mjolnir, they need to fly off the frame.
Yeah.
Robot or not. If they get back up or not, they need to. If the Hulk takes a really running start right hand into anything, it's going to move. It's going to take damage.
Deleted.
And I just deleted. And I just don't understand why. Oh, I mean, I'm not a game designer. I'm not trying to say that I am. I'm just trying to say if you're going for a certain feel with those characters, it's a big miss. Anyway, I will check out Winter Soldier just because I hate myself. But back to more video games. I want to talk about Game of the Year nominees that are coming out. I know some of us have only played a couple of these games that are on here, but PlayStation is kind of dominating in the Game of the Year category. There are no Xbox exclusives on this list that I can tell. Here are the nominees for Game of the Year at the Game Awards, which, by the way, you guys have heard me talk about Diablo 4. We're supposed to have a release date, a beta announcement, and all the stuff that you can pre-order for Diablo 4
yes. 2025
at the Game Awards.
14 years
Megan
after
has sit
the
here and
previews
watched
dropped.
my psyche deteriorate as I've watched news about this GD game.
Yeah.
But anyway, Game of the Year: Stray, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, Plague Tale Requiem, Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, and Horizon Forbidden West. Now,
God of War wins it.
I know that you guys are going to say that. And I'm going to say something that's genuinely going to shock you about these Game of the Year nominees.
Elden Ring or God of War.
or Horizon Forbidden West.
Won't win.
But there is no way anything beats God of War. It looks beautiful. It looks gorgeous. God of War has the more intense story. It has the more seasoned character. I loved Elden Ring. It was a beautiful game. The lore is well thought out. It was a perfect release. They didn't have a 10 gig download because of all these glitches that were happening at the beginning of Elden Ring. That game was great start to finish. But God of War, you can pick up and play. If you played Elden Ring and you showed up, you were getting your ass kicked from the first guy you fought to the last guy you fought. It was never easy. It was a very challenging game. I still think it should absolutely be up there for Game of the Year. I agree with you. It's Elden Ring or it's God of War. But if I'm looking at it as a total gamer, as somebody who's looking at a game that I want to approach, God of War has it hands down. It has the lore. It has the side quests. It has the characters you love. It has the Norse mythology in there as it did from the first one. And now you've got Thor and Odin in this game, and you can pick it up and just, I bet the leveling is great. The power creep is not there. You're not going to a place where you're going to get absolutely mollywopped when you walk into a new area. Am I correct?
It depends on what difficulty level you play on, yeah.
Sure.
And what the definition of mollywopped is.
Mollywopped is just when you just get your ass whooped.
Thank you.
Okay.
But, excuse me, I was going to say the big difference, though, is that is a PlayStation exclusive, and Elden Ring was like a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Where you could play it everywhere.
I can't tell you, when Elden Ring first came out, it was on everything. It was on
votes
Twitch.
For this stuff?
I think it's voted for by people at the Game Awards.
It's
or not people, but like it's a media thing.
Yeah, and
that's what I mean.
I think it's the same process like the Oscars or the Grammys. Yeah. It's like video game writers and critics and stuff.
That means Elden Ring has a legitimate shot.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Because God of War is so widely recognized that, you know, a lot of those guys would be like, oh, no, sorry, Elden Ring was great. Did you see the lore in the fourth area when you walked up? There was the guy on the horseback, and they talked about his mutilated family for 6 hours in the lore. Oh, Elden Ring.
I think the fact that God of War is nominated speaks volumes to how good that game, though. It's just a single-player game. It's not a massive online multiplayer game. It's just Kratos, and it's just your character.
Yeah,
you don't play anybody else,
too, right?
Well, I'm talking about like other players. You're not. It's literally just a single player game, and the story is probably, for me personally, it's by far the greatest story I've ever had in a video game ever.
That came out this year. Why did I think that came out last year?
Came out recently.
I mean,
it just came out like a couple months ago. I think 2 or 3 months ago.
A few months. But still, I mean, I gotta say the hype around Elden Ring is still real. I mean, if you want a challenging game, Elden Ring is that game, man. It's never easy. And that's the first game that I was getting my ass kicked like that I continued to grind. I continued to play it. It was so good. It's making me want to pick it up right now, but I don't want to get frustrated.
Actually, God of War just came out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Jeez.
November 9th, and it's already nominated for Game of the Year.
So then that would be one of the only things that gets in its way then.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, what else?
Well, there were people that were talking about that game being Game of the Year before it even came out.
Yeah.
So there was still a lot of hype around that game.
And a lot of these folks that we're talking about got their hands on God of War before we did.
I was going to say, if it's the writers and the critics and those are the ones that are really, then they've had this game for months, I'm sure, if not longer. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, don't they generally get...
I mean, we'll see. We're definitely going to be reporting on the Game Awards next week. I believe that happens this weekend coming up. I don't know when the Game Awards
I think
is
Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
But when that's out, we'll definitely be doing that. Speaking of that, for YouTube, let's talk about that for a second, shall we? This channel is going to start to kind of focus on doing some streams, some one-on-one character, deep dive stuff like that. We're actually about to do a pretty good video about phase 4, kind of the state of phase 4, where things are, where they're going. So keep an eye out for that. It'll be Ryan, myself, and Rhino, and possibly get Justin back in here to sit down and go over all that stuff. So that's kind of what the content for YouTube is going to be, along with these video copies of the episodes. So if you prefer to listen to the podcast on YouTube, it will be there and available for you. It will still be getting released everywhere it's always released, but that'll just be another option for you. So shameless plug for our YouTube before we move into our Marvel news for the week.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Hit the bell. Isn't that what everybody says for YouTube? Make sure you hit the bell.
Before we get into it, hit that subscribe so you can get those notifications.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. I'm going to do like the Fortnite YouTubers do. And another week, we're going to be talking about The Witcher 4 when it comes out, who's going to be in there, all the rumors we've heard all week, and it's going to be the same thing we've said in the last video every day this week. Like, subscribe, and if you comment down below, I'll tell you how much I rate you on a scale of 1 to 10. Are you single? Would you date my mother?
This week's giveaway is a bottle of water.
A bottle of water. Sorry to my friends across the pond. Anyway, actually, let's take our second break for the day because we are running a little bit long. Then we're going to talk a little bit of Marvel news, and then we'll call it a day. Okay, that's it. That's all we're doing.
Hey, whoa, bro. I saw this Overwatch. I'm over here doing what Megan normally does.
He's screen peeking, guys.
I can't see from
He's
here.
Screen peeking.
What is this? May being removed from the game while glitches are addressed?
Didn't you already hear that we're banning Blizzard products in China, and you're going to just talk about this like this?
Yeah,
I said that the games are banned in China, and the Chinese characters are banned from the American games.
Oh, I see. My bad.
And that's not true at all.
I was gonna say, I was trying to recall the whole. No, I don't think
no,
she's currently able to glitch players into the wall where they can hit people outside of that wall, and you can't hit them back.
Nice.
So essentially, characters are getting free shots at the other team and winning easily.
Hilarious.
Because of May. So they have taken her out until the most
Further
recent
notice.
update when they can fix that.
Complete failure of a video game.
Way to go, Blizzard.
I think that's just hilarious.
I'm gonna just highlight Rhino's comment. Complete failure of a video game.
Yeah.
Overwatch 2 is one of the biggest disappointments I've ever had in my gaming career, he said with air quotes.
Hey, do you guys remember when Ryan was sitting right across over there in that seat right over there? And I was telling him that this is going to be Overwatch 1.5 and it was going to absolutely suck.
He did.
I remember that.
We literally played one, and I'm not kidding, one competitive match. We both uninstalled the game.
Instantly.
Wow. I mean, I still play.
And this is after
We played the beta.
hours and hours
And hours.
and hours
And
and
hours.
hours. I'm talking like years of playing this fucking game.
Big time.
I still play, but not nearly as much.
Oh, Mr. I'm on
He
at
was on it
1:30 in the
last
morning.
night.
That's what I'm talking about.
We saw your ass on there last night.
I logged in because I was jumping out of a Fortnite party. I go, oh, there's the black guy on playing Overwatch.
Actually,
hey,
when I
at
put it on
least he's
Overwatch,
giving it a
I
chance.
just actually sat there. I was
He
switched
put
from
it on
Modern
and
Warfare.
cried.
And it was like 1:30. I was like, do I really want to play a match? I was like, no, I
he
don't.
doesn't.
And I was
No, he
like,
doesn't.
Don't
Turn it
lie
on,
to us all. You
stare
fell
at the home
asleep.
screen.
You put it on and fell asleep.
That's what happened. Just
Says-
say it.
No,
gonna
I
say-
just put
Say
it
it.
on. And
But
then I decided
Rhino
to go
says
to
the
sleep.
guy who falls asleep playing video games all the time.
Ooh. Well,
No,
he
that's not
doesn't do
falls
that
asleep.
anymore.
That's intoxicated.
Well, you said it. I wasn't going to
Tomato.
We've talked about that on the show before without Ryan here about
He's
we
just
used to
like,
do
hey,
raids.
Hey, what are you doing over
This
there?
is the guy with the rhino over his name on the YouTube land.
Yeah.
That's the guy that fell asleep in the raid, and we were like, "What are you doing?"
And he's
Not only was it in the raid, it was during the jumping puzzle.
Yeah,
The most interactive part of the game.
The only thing that could have saved was you would have woke up and was, here comes Leroy Jenkins.
actually,
There I
know
go
what
on a transport, just all the way there to the end.
All I know is that he would wake up and message one of us at 3 a.m. and be like, "I'm in the raid by myself."
So to be fair, and since we're throwing everybody under the bus, Jack has done this before.
It's bad.
We've fallen asleep on the couch, and
Yeah.
I've woken up to go to bed, and I see his character just
Diablo.
spinning in
It's always
circles.
Diablo. It's
or
always
like
Diablo.
walking into the corner of
Yeah.
a mountain, like just walking into nothing, and I'm
Yep.
just like,
I can
and-
guarantee you every true grinder of a video game player
Oh,
has
yeah.
fallen asleep with the controller in hand and headset on head.
All
Yeah,
I know
I've
is
woken
all
up-
I know is I hear your guy's getting attacked, and I go, "Ha!" And I wake up,
immediately
and
starts-
instantly all the cooldowns are pressed at one time.
and I'm like, babe, your guy's dying, and he's just like.
Your guy's dying. No, the fuck, he's not.
There have been times that I've woken up and I've just watched it happen for a
Yeah.
while to see like
Yeah.
how bad it is, like how long it goes on, and then all of a sudden I'll wake him up and he's immediately like in panic mode, and
But
I'm like, maybe
but
I should have woke you up like 8 minutes ago.
I min-max my gear so my guys don't die. Huh?
But yeah, they just he just
Yeah.
keeps getting attacked and losing all of his cool equipment because he's
Survivability.
dying.
That's
baby.
not how that works.
Whatever.
That's not how that works.
I don't know. I don't game.
You're embarrassing me.
I don't game.
No,
all know it.
But it is fun to watch me fall asleep, I'm sure, and have all my characters killed. Okay, so I said it before, I'll say it again. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to get into Marvel news, and then we'll be done. Okay, that's as simple as that. All right?
Sounds good to me.
All right, 59.50. Let me mark that one too.
Did you mark the other one?
59. I got the other one. I got both of them.
59.
Did you get my message,
yes,
by the way? Okay.
Yes, I did.
Don't forget to do that, please.
Okay. All right, and back to it. And we're back. Here we go. A little bit of Marvel news, a little bit of sad Marvel news, kind of. I don't know how this is going to play out, but it's a little bit of a sad story. Chris Hemsworth saying he's going to step away from acting because he is predisposed for Alzheimer's. Not that he's got it or that he's at risk of getting it. Am I understanding that correctly?
So I don't really know because I haven't looked into this as much as I wanted to before sitting down today. But
there's a gene that you can get passed down from your parents.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times a child is born with just one of those genes.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Hemsworth, he received both of those genes from each parent.
Both of his parents. Okay.
So he is 8 to 10 times more likely to get Alzheimer's in his life.
Yeah.
From what I understand.
Do we know if anybody's done any research on that? Do we know if there's any history in his family beyond his parents so far?
Oh, that I'm not entirely sure, to be honest.
I just didn't know if that was like
it's on his show Limitless.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that might not be a bad thing.
What,
bro? Could you imagine if you just woke up and you have a Thor costume in your joint and you remember who you are, and you're just Thor?
Okay, I mean,
Bro,
I see the silver lining, but it's a little early for that.
I'm sorry. Were we just joking about Jason David Frank not too long ago?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. It's a little early for the Alzheimer's jokes. When do you want to make them? When he actually has it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, he's already stepping away and he didn't even get close to having it.
Speaking of,
it's like, oh, I'm Chris Hemsworth, or am I?
I got my dope hat.
That is a nice hat
that I can't put over my headphones. But
made sure to buy it before we went to go see
Love and Thunder. Yep. And then that movie was flop.
That's sad. I hope that I think he's going to take some time and be with his family, but I don't. His entire family are in these series with him. Yep. I don't know if he's going to turn away. Whatever he decides to do, I'm not going to be like, I can't stand that Chris Hemsworth did that. I respect his choice. I respect what he wants to do for his family. So good for him.
And in that profession too, it's like I can understand where he's coming from. Obviously, doing it now because it's like there's the argument of, well, he's only X year old and his parents, if they don't have it now, like obviously he has a better chance of it not happening until later on in his life. But when you're in the profession that you're in, it's like, do you want to be 6 months into a movie and all of a sudden you're forgetting who you are? I mean, for as awful as that sounds, I don't think it comes on that quickly. Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's like I can understand where he's coming from in a sense that it's. But on the other side of that coin, it's like he's somebody who's come out and said, I want to play Thor until literally I'm dead. Like I want to be him forever. And then
first and foremost, he can do whatever he wants. It's his, you know what I mean? It's his life.
And I'm not talking about it from a fan standpoint. I'm talking about it from like if I was to be in that situation.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 39 years old.
Yeah, I mean, he's still a young guy, but it's like you never know with that sort of situation.
I mean, relatively speaking, 39 is quite young for the MCU.
Yeah. That's quite young. A lot of
those guys are in their 40s and 50s. Yeah, I was just saying in terms of like actors in the MCU, you got RDJ, who was in his mid 50s. Mark Ruffalo is, I think, early 50s. Samuel L. Jackson's 103.
You got
Black Don't Crack.
Paul Rudd, who's like 86.
Yeah, Paul Rudd, who's actually
the same every decade of his life.
Old. Yeah, people don't know that.
He's literally like 52.
Paul Rudd and Sean William Scott are actually the real Eternals.
For real though, Sean William Scott never ages either.
No. Here's some good news. We talked about this a little bit. I don't know how far we've gone into it, but I remember talking about it before. David Harbour warns fans that for the Thunderbolts movie, when that hits theaters, it's going to be like a bomb getting dropped on the MCU. So we've all been speculating that Kang is going to be, or Ant-Man Quantumania is going to be the big moment that we see the shift in the MCU and kind of a clear path of where we're going. Do we think Thunderbolts plays a bigger part of that?
I almost wonder if Thunderbolts somehow sets up the next Avengers movies.
Secret Wars. It could easily set up Secret Wars.
The one before that is Kang Dynasty too. They come out in consecutive years, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah. But I you know, I could still see Secret Wars being set up very heavily from Thunderbolts.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
just the fact that it's Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars to me kind of reinforces the fact that there's going to be a lot of different things happening in the MCU. We're not going to get the same linear path of content like we did with the Avengers saga, where you
It's
met
we've
Cap.
talked about this to where it feels like this phase is a little messy, but
Yeah.
that we think that it's all going to end up coming together.
And another thing too that we've talked about off air, all of us here, is that Marvel fans and comic book fans in general have been polled and say that they're feeling a lot of fatigue from the amount of content that's getting released lately. And
it is a lot, and I think it's because that the obviously the COVID era didn't help because a lot of stuff started. I mean, we did have that block of time to where nothing was happening.
Yeah.
And that sucked. And so now we're playing the game of catch up and everything gets backed up. And then they're plugging in all of the Disney Plus series and all the other stuff. So it's like you find it hard to determine where things like, which we talked about last week, Moon Knight and Miss Marvel and those sort of things like fall into play.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of shit going on at once.
I just think that a lot of people think that in order for you to be caught up with the movies, you have to be caught up with everything. You have to see all the shows and all the other stuff. And that is where they're kind of like, I've got to, watch this every Wednesday. Then I've got to go to the movie or I won't understand it. I don't think that's the case.
And some of them it is. I mean, a friend of mine, she watched Doctor Strange and had no idea what was going on. And then she had to go back and watch WandaVision.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's for that beginning part of the movie where you understand about her kids for sure. But I don't think that's going to be, I hope it's not common stance for everything, because that will cause a lot of fatigue among the community. People are going to be like, I don't want to sit and watch 80 hours of this. Now, me, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm down to watch every frame of it twice.
Sign me up.
I'm tired.
We literally generally have the Marvel, what you call it, on a loop. What do you call it? The timeline?
Yeah. The
the
timeline order, not the phase order.
Yeah.
But I've watched Werewolf by Night 8 times.
I still haven't seen
I
that
love
one
it.
yet.
I've watched
I love it
twice. When are you watching this?
At
When are
night.
you watching this?
When you go to bed at 7:00.
You are gonna hit a point of saturation with the Marvel universe where there's only so much new content you could put out that grabs people.
Right.
I remember 4 or 5 years ago when it was 1, maybe 2 movies a year and you couldn't wait until they came out.
Exactly.
Now it's like you're not done watching this content and that content's already coming out.
Well, we've talked about that when the first schedule came out. It was like, you have a Marvel something. It's a TV show that leads up, and then there's a movie. And when the movie's out of the theater for 2 months, you've got a new series starting up. There's always something constantly going.
Which I personally
like right now, think about it. The end of this week, we get the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
Hell yes, we do.
And then when that runs out, I think we've got another TV show starting up.
Wait, isn't that just a movie?
It's an hour-long special.
So it's not. We're not getting like a series out of that.
No, it's just one thing.
But we'll probably watch that shit on a loop for a while.
I'm sure. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think.
How much of it do you think actually sets up the next Guardians movie?
They've said that is required watching for the MCU. The Christmas special is. They said that is, if you're watching the MCU on a timeline order, you have got to watch the Christmas special. So that's why I think Gamora comes back, and then you're going to see that sort of mindset lead in, because people are going to go to Guardians 3 and go, what when did Gamora come back? She left at the end of Avengers. I don't get it. You know what I mean?
Do we get Adam?
Plus pimp.
We might
get in the final 5 minutes. Adam shows up.
I was gonna say.
I don't know if he shows up. I think it's a lot.
He better not.
I feel like that's a poor.
He better not.
I will fight him.
Adam better not show up on Christmas.
I would say that's a poor time for him to show up. It would be a poor time for him to show up if he's in the episode.
Yeah, for sure.
If he comes at the last 5 minutes, like you said, worth it, because then,
Adam better not get in my face.
No. You know when Adam should showed up? Adam should showed up in
Infinity War. In Infinity War, technically.
Yeah.
According to the comics.
Yeah. That's when Adam should showed up.
And you're actually not wrong, because he was mentioned. He was mentioned in the storyline prior to Infinity War. He was at the end of Guardians 2.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we haven't heard nothing since. We just watched.
What is happening?
He's having some. I did say technical difficulty, but I think it's more of a user error. I'm not really sure what's happening. His mic fell off at the stand.
You guys can keep going.
We are going.
that's
but
awesome.
watching you BF around with that thing is funny.
BF around. I'm using that one's going in the holster.
I didn't
That
want
one's
to.
going in the holster.
I didn't want to say that particular.
You can't just sit there and BF around.
Hey, listen, if all you're gonna do is BF around, you might as well leave, okay?
Okay, sure.
Now get your GD microphone on there and let's go.
Just hold it.
Helping, guys. Helping.
So in other news, Jack takes 15 minutes to put his microphone back on the stand.
I'm pretty sure you're twisting it the wrong way.
Yeah,
Bro, we're an hour and 10 in. You might as well hold that fucker.
he doesn't know the righty tighty lefty loosey thing. We've been through this a million times with other things in the house. He always twists it the wrong way. That's what she said.
I'll say.
We need to plug.
I'll say I twisted the wrong way, boys and girls. I just panicked. I saw which way the threading was going, and on the mic, I was going the right way 3 different times.
I fell off.
It just wouldn't catch, and then all of a sudden, people started to forget. What are you doing? I don't know. My hands don't work. Oh boy. Okay.
My hands.
Yeah.
I was gonna say. I don't know.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Ironheart is rumored that the show is going to start right after the events of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever,
Which I think is a very good idea, given that they released her in Black Panther as her first appearance.
Yeah.
So the storyline should definitely take off right from there. I mean, they're probably going to do some flashbacks as to like her origins, but I'm glad that they're just hitting the ground running with that.
I need some Armor Wars stuff from Ironheart. You know what I mean? I need her to kind of be into that whole armor versus armor thing. But there's already talk that Sacha Baron Cohen is going to be showing up as Mephisto in her series. If that's the case, how the f is this going to happen?
That's a wild pairing of protagonist and antagonist.
I was about to say the actors, sure, I'm down for it, but Mephisto going after Ironheart, that I'm like, wait a minute, why?
Well, I wonder if the relationship there is where he's manipulating other people to go after Ironheart, and he's just the guy behind the curtain,
or he's manipulating her.
Or it could be that too.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think that's going to be an interesting one. I feel like Wakanda Forever would have done just fine without her. And that's not a knock to her. It's a knock to the plot of the movie. Yeah. I don't think she needed to be there at all. Could have had the same movie. You could have still passed $500 million domestically.
But who would have made the machine that pissed off Namor?
Any other scientist?
Nah, fam.
I feel like
brilliant insight, Ryan. Brilliant insight.
It's a Wakanda movie with black folks. Gotta have a black girl named Riri.
Gotta have the black scientist.
Yeah,
I mean, you're talking about the most technically advanced civilization on planet Earth in this universe. I think somebody there probably could have been like, "Hey, I bet I can get that robot running right now."
Yeah, sure, he was busy. I guess We're just gonna run with that.
Yeah, was that a spoiler?
Oh God, no spoilers. There's no Black Panther. It's
that movie isn't even out yet.
Nope, it's not. That's not him. It's what's his name? The guy from The Hobbit.
Spoiler.
He's the Black Panther.
Ooh,
the guy who played Rudy
Williams or
Sean Astin.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Actually, it's Gollum. That's the new Black Panther.
It's precious.
Wakanda hobbitses. No,
please don't make that.
I don't know if that would. I don't know if that would fly. That would be the
impressions I would have never guessed hearing on the podcast today.
Spiegel.
We'll go with him. Writing that down.
Yeah, we'll do a Twitter poll.
There's going to be the spinoff. Spiegel, Precious Forever.
Precious Forever.
That's what Spiegel's doing the whole time. He forgets to protect Wakanda. He's just after the ring. But he takes the heart-shaped herb, so he's just a swolled up Smeagol. Still no teeth, 5 pieces of hair on his head. Wearing the Black Panther suit.
Wearing Killmonger's gold.
That's
his precious.
That's his preciousness.
Wow.
Turns him into the Black Panther. I love it.
Congratulations to Black Panther, though. Like I did say, they did pass 500 million domestically, and I hope Rhino remembers this quote, remembers what we were talking about just the other day, that a certain person that is also in a black superhero movie had some comments about them talking about Black Panther surpassing Black Adam. Mr. Dwayne The Rock.
Mr.
I'm
Dwayne
sorry,
himself.
that was a debate as to whether or not Black Panther and Black Adam were on the same scale of movie.
Not to anyone except for Dwayne, because IGN came out and posted that Black Panther had surpassed Black Adam.
No shit.
And everybody else goes, yeah, we know.
When there's 402 movies that lead up to Black Panther 2 and the DC universe can't figure out how to button its own fucking pants.
Well, so Dwayne commented and said, well, this was never meant to be a competition. We're our own thing. We're trying to grow the Justice Society of America, blah, 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 blah. We aren't trying to compete with Marvel. And it's like, nope, nobody said you were, Dwayne. They just said that Black Panther made more money than you.
Which is
first of all, the entire reason the DC cinematic universe exists is to compete with Marvel.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be making movies.
I mean, I don't disagree with that. I just think it's a really stupid thing to come out and even comment.
Hey, he
just had to make it about himself.
That's
all. That's Dwayne Johnson's MO, is making everything about himself.
And he can't take an L.
No.
So he ain't taking that L.
No, The Rock can't lose. Lord,
He's actually tweeted like 6 times about that movie and made a video about it.
Hey, I just want to say thank you. Mahalo to all my brothers over there at Wakanda Forever. Drink Terramana. This is my cheat day. I've got 80 donuts behind me. I'm going to eat all these before I go out in the air, Iron Paradise at 1 a.m. and work out for 7 hours. I can do it. I only had $5 in my pocket. Now I'm Black Adam.
It was $7.
Yeah, get it right.
What did I say?
7. You said 5.
Oh, I said 5. My bad.
7.
My bad. I didn't mean to short him. It's $2.
Yeah, you can.
I'm never going to mention the fact that my dad was Rocky Maivia and got me into the WWE. I'm not going to mention that.
Well,
I had $7 in my pocket living in downtown Toronto, Canada.
But when you only have $7, the $2 is kind of a big deal.
It is true.
That
is true. That is that extra couple sticks of gum. Moving on to some interesting news. This one I liked a lot. This is concerning Daredevil. Obviously, it's supposed to be one of the longest running series that's coming to Marvel in general. I think they said something like 28, 29 episodes for Born Again of Daredevil.
Jesus.
Huge. And it has also come out that it is going to be rated TV MA.
So mature, smart.
So this is going to be your true blue Daredevil. This is going to be what it's supposed to be. This is broken bones and busted ribs and bloody lips and all that kind of stuff. This is going to be that Daredevil.
Are they going to be an hour long?
I don't know. God, they can't be. Can they?
If I had to guess, they're probably going to fall in the 30 to 40 minute range.
Yeah, I would say 45 minutes of actual content.
That's what most of them are, right?
Hold on a second. Let's go back to the question. Are you not going to watch if they're an hour long?
I mean,
28, 29 episodes, bro. You know who I am? I ain't watching that.
He isn't even going to watch it as it goes.
Chuck, I'm not going to watch these episodes if they're an hour long, Chuck. Kobe said the episode's going to be an hour long. I'm not going to watch them, Chuck.
We were joking about how Ryan sounds like Shaq before the show.
Yeah, he does because he lost his voice.
He wants to get you a Shaq-a-rooney. I might get it. You just have to order me a few Shaq-a-roonies.
DJ Diesel's really busy. He ain't got time for no hour-long episodes.
Nope. You guys want to buy my Buick?
Charles.
You actually sound exactly.
How many rings you got, Charles? How many rings that, Charles?
They're also supposed to be introducing Jenna Ortega as the White Tiger into the Daredevil series. We also have a running bet on the show if we see Mr. Frank Castle show up. I believe it's a crispy dollar.
Crispy dollar. I honestly think he will show up in Daredevil.
But if they're following the storyline based off of the actual comic book, he's not in it. He's nowhere to be found.
This is where I think you're at a disadvantage because you're looking at it from the purest eyeglasses. I don't care if he shows up one way or the other. As a Marvel fan, do I want to see Frank Castle show back up? Absolutely. I want him back in the MCU as much as the next guy. Does he belong in maybe that specific storyline? No, but let's look at Endgame and the Infinity Saga. That didn't go the way everybody thought it would. And people have been clamoring for the Punisher to be back on TV or back in or just show up in the MCU.
Yep.
It's a good chance it could happen. We could have a crispy dollar appear once and for all.
Yep.
Know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That other crispy dollar's coming in 2024.
For sure. 100%.
I heard they just got a director for it finally.
For Blade. Yeah, they did get the director. It was the director of, oh my gosh, I saw it. He directed, oh my gosh, hold on, let me look. I gotta look it up. But Blade did get a director, and I was like, who cares? You got a director, not a writer, not a good screenplay. Director doesn't mean anything.
You should care.
Lovecraft Country.
Lovecraft Country, exactly.
Yeah, Lovecraft. Yep.
That's great.
Yep.
It's gonna be cool, but you don't have a solid script. They said you had 2 fight scenes, and one of them was not that great. This is Blade, guys. You have subject matter to watch. 3 movies worth, 2 of which were decent.
I thought the 2 of them were pretty dope.
I thought 2 of them were actually pretty good. The third one just drags them all down so much.
I don't know. I kind of like
it so bad.
It was kind of funny because Ryan Reynolds is there, and I'd love to see Triple H as a vampire, but I don't know. Yeah. So last thing we're talking about here, we've got Armor Wars has been transitioned from a movie or from a TV series to a movie, and apparently that is because the budget was getting too much for the show. Too much.
I'm actually all about that.
Disney crying about money?
No. But they're saying we're not going to spend this much on a TV series. We're going to release it globally as a movie if it's going to be that big and that good. Are people going to want to watch Don Cheadle? Yeah, they're going to watch him. He's Don Cheadle.
I feel like he deserves that in a movie. I mean, it sucks because we wanted to see it in a series that we were going to get a bunch of episodes for.
Yeah. But what if they pull the old switcheroo on us and they couldn't afford Don Cheadle and it's back to Terrence Howard?
Terrence Howard.
Hey, what's going on, man?
You're in the suit.
You know.
That would be interesting.
It's War Machine, man.
Yeah, I would actually. I thought Terrence Howard was going to do great. But
I did
we
too.
didn't get it, so whatever. It is what it is.
But I also like looking back now. It's like I don't see his chemistry living up to what Don Cheadle did throughout the Avengers movies.
No,
and
because now Don has had relationships with too many other pieces of the MCU than just Tony to make it legitimate.
Right.
Now,
but
you've got him with Bruce. You've got him with Black Widow. You've got him with, oh my God, Anthony Mackie as the Falcon.
Right.
He's had so many interactions with so many members of the MCU, you couldn't replace him now.
But I'm just saying, if they had never changed it to begin with, I don't know if it would have been the same. I mean, we wouldn't have known the difference, but still.
Right.
Like, I feel like
I like Terrence Howard. I think he's a great actor.
I was kind of disappointed that they changed it to Don Cheadle until, a movie or 2 into him being.
I was the same as you. I was disappointed when they heard they changed it. Then they said Don Cheadle, and I said, okay,
yeah,
I'm fine.
Don Cheadle, I'm good.
Yeah.
But
Don Cheadle hit the ground running in Iron Man 2.
I'd only seen Don Cheadle in like one.
And you know what?
Was it Rush Hour 2?
No, I think
I'm just saying.
I'll shoot you and say you fell in the kitchen.
No, I think it was Ocean's 11 or whatever. Wasn't he in those?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that was the only thing I had seen him in at that point, and I was kind of like, well, okay,
Yeah. This is true.
And I had seen the other guy in so much other shit.
It took was 2 questions at the hearing for me to fully believe Don Cheadle was Captain James Rhodes or Colonel James Rhodes. Done deal. When he's like, you're going to make me read out of context a single part of my report instead of a more comprehensive. I was like, all right, we're done. He's him. Oh, well, that's all I have on the list. Anything else that we want to talk about on the way out?
No.
First of all, thank you for tuning in for episode 125 of the Alter Ego podcast. We sincerely appreciate you. If you're checking us out on YouTube, thank you. Hello. This setup that you're looking at right now is going to evolve and grow as we do as a show.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for checking it out. And we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yep.
Big shout out to our friends over at Mara Jane Design for our new labeling that we have on our Facebook, our Instagram. She did a fantastic job. We're going to link her in this episode.
Yeah.
If you want anything done for you or your show, check it out. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter at Alter Ego Pod. Email us alteregopodcast2 or check us out on Facebook. We'll see you guys around the bend.
Yeah.
And a little That's a scroll.
It's definitely a scroll.
That's a scroll. 100% a scroll.
It's a scroll.
Everybody have a great week. Don't have a good week. Have a great week.
Have a fantastic week.
Gotta get
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
How do we forget to say fucking happy Thanksgiving?
For all of
We're
our
thankful
folks
for
in the
you.
U.S. Thank you. Yeah, we're thankful for you. Oh, boy.
Really and
Bunch of
truly.
goddamn colonizers.
Oh, wow. I don't know how to follow that one. But yes, and don't forget to watch your Guardians holiday special this weekend.
Yes, if that's out this weekend, we'll be talking about it on the next show. And you're watching that.
What?
Yes, you are.
See you next time, guys.
I guess it's only an hour long. I could do that.
We'll get you a monster, a big one.
I don't like Monster. It's Red Bull, bro. It gives you wings.